Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload we'll be talking about a potentially very significant snowstorm, rainstorm, depending on where you live. The details are very undetailed. The confidence is very low, and this looks to be definitely the biggest snowstorm of the season east of the Mississippi. We've seen pretty large storms across the western half of the United States and into the upper plains. The eastern U.S. finally may get in on some action, and the details, again, very unconfident, but we'll just have to wait and see. Before we get in, if you guys enjoy this channel, enjoy what you're seeing throughout the video, feel free to check out the other videos, and if you enjoy those as well, consider subscribing. And if you would like the video, that would be awesome, especially if you're a returning viewer. That really supports this channel and shows me you guys like what you're seeing. Let's get into this potential snowstorm. Alright, so let's start off by looking at the European model. This model has been relatively accurate this year, but it's definitely had a few of its flaws, and it's, at this point, a battle of the models. Not one model is really going to determine this all. And honestly, at this point, I don't think any model over the rest has a better handle. They all have a similar, pretty poor handle over this system. And again, I think it will be occurring. There will be a storm. How much snow will fall and where it will fall is unknown. Let's take a look at this. Notice this is the 12Z model run of the European, which was released at around, again, 1 to 2 o'clock Eastern, Central, 12 o'clock Pacific Mountain Time. So let's start going into this. Notice we have a storm system that is pulling away from the United States right now. Dropped a lot of rain and some snow into Michigan and into portions of Kansas, the mountains, Iowa, Wisconsin, plenty of locations got some snow. This weekend really doesn't do much. As we push into Thursday and into Friday, the weather clears out. Thanksgiving Day, Black Friday will be pretty, in terms of the weather, will be very good. Very minimal precipitation falling really anywhere. However, we start seeing the ingredients come together for this system. So I just want to preface that this system is not that far away. It's relatively within 100 to 150 hours, which is considered that short to medium range, not in a long range. This isn't a speculation at this point. It's just the uncertainty with especially the air patterns and the way the jet streams fold out is what really kind of get this uncertainty to a really high level. So the thing is that this isn't a one-piece system. It is a two-piece storm, and we have to get those two pieces to phase in a certain way in order to have a large system. The models are supporting that as of now, but that may change, and all it takes is for one of these little buggers. We have one piece right here, one piece right here. If just one of those changes, we could be looking at a collapse of the system. Now, again, I don't think that will happen, but I do not want to just give you one side of the story and say this is definitely going to happen. If I were a betting man, I would, bet most of my money that a system would occur. If I was a betting man, would I say that Chicago is going to get way more snow over any other location? No, that would be foolish. So let's take a look at this. We have a low pressure, pretty strong one, moving across British Columbia into this weekend. This is Saturday. We also have some rain and some light snow, especially in the mountains across New Mexico, but mainly rain, really all rain across the south. Pretty heavy rain amounts, especially since this will be pretty stationary for a few days. Notice that as we push into Saturday evening, Saturday night, Sunday morning, the rain continues to drench portions of the south. We see that low pressure to the north, that northern piece, already across portions of western Ontario. So this thing really speeds very quickly. But this is where things get interesting. This is where these two systems kind of dance and harmonize to form an absolute beast. So this is kind of like fire and gas, or fire and oil. If they come together, it will combust into a big storm. Notice we see this is what the situation looks like as of Monday. Early Monday morning hours, really late Sunday, and we have a low pressure across Ontario, right? It's delivering a lot of cold air. See, if this thing gets slowed down and it doesn't really have enough cold air behind it, then a lot of this will fall as rain. Notice this low pressure really strengthens at this point. Lots of precipitation continues to fall across the south, strengthening of the low pressure, and we start seeing that rain to snow transition. Again, you may be looking at this and saying, oh, Indiana's going to see snow, Ohio. This is just one forecast track, and this thing keeps changing. It hasn't stayed consistent for this whole past week, and it won't continue to until maybe a day or two out. Again, I think that by Friday, maybe late Thursday, no, really Friday, Saturday, we could have a better handle of this. Still, though, exact confidence is going to be, or the exact location of the snow will be missing. So again, that northern piece really kind of dwindles away, but what it allows is that cold air. Notice we have a high pressure that fights with this low pressure. These two things are absolutely in a brawl. And notice, lake effect snow potentially for areas like Chicago and portions of Illinois, Wisconsin, while we have a low pressure that is trying to push to the north and west. Very strong winds. This is most likely where that snow is falling with these isobars. I would estimate at least blizzard conditions would be would be present. So if this were to occur exactly like the European is showing as of right now, which is almost a 0% chance, we would have blizzard warnings issued across Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, portions of Tennessee. Again, where it's not snowing, still very strong winds. Where it's not snowing, we could have rain as well, especially on the eastern flank of this. Southern as well, obviously prior to this development. But look, very strong bands of rain that could even include some severe weather. We see quite a bit of mixing, icing, especially around the bodies of water around the lakes. Notice this thing continues to keep its intensity, if not strengthen. 984, we have a very strong band of snow. I mean, wicked, just absolutely wicked winds coming off into Michigan, Indiana, Ohio. This thing, I was looking at a historical storm that was coined the Blizzard Bowl. It was in 1950, I think in 1950, it was one that tracked around late November, around this time frame, and this storm could be doing something similar. Now, the amounts of snow are a bit uncertain, but I'll show you them in just a minute. Notice Chicago getting in on a bit of this. Again, cities like Chicago, there's so many cities that are within the grasp of this blizzard, or are within, getting away from this grasp. So Chicago, according to this model run, would kind of miss the brunt of this, and cities like Indiana, Indianapolis, Detroit would be on the rainy side, so another city on the line. Columbus, Cincinnati would get a dose out of this. Columbus would kind of be on that line. A lot of, Cleveland also on that line, and whether this shifts further to the east or further to the west, we'll have to see. The trend for the past few days prior to today was a bit further to the west. I mean, this storm originally, the models were showing taking a track like this. Now it's taking a track like this, right? That's what this model is showing. Yesterday it was taking something more like this. And some models have kept it like that. The European shifted it just a wee bit slightly to the west. The Canadian has shifted it a bit further to the west. The European did it further to the east. So the differences are just frustrating at this point because we don't know what's going to happen exactly where and which cities are going to get impacted the most. And as you can see, this isn't just a little tiny clipper or little tiny 2-inch snow event. Very heavy snow, very strong winds. Notice it starts breaking apart as the main core of the system. The very strong the rain cold front starts breaking away, pushing into Canada and the northeast, while the low pressure spins away with cold air and just constant harassment, if you will, of snow and lake effect showers. Again, we could also be seeing another potential snowstorm right after that one. Let's take a look at the total snowfalls. Again, this is just really to show you the potential of this. Don't look at your city. I mean, look at your city and see how much you'll get, right? But don't take that as a guarantee because 12 hours ago it was showing something different. And I guarantee you it will be showing something different this midnight model run. Now, it may be not huge, or it may be huge. And unfortunately, we can't really tell at this point. And the thing is that makes this, again, such a huge contrasting difference is how the upper air dynamics work with this system, as that's a huge player. So you could see up until Monday, lots of snow across southwestern Canada, British Columbia. Anywhere else, really minimal snow. Maybe a bit across Texas or across New Mexico with those snow showers. So that could be interesting. But look at this. This system just blows up a ton of snow across, portions of Ohio, Indiana. Maybe up to 30 inches of snow, which would just be a crippling storm, especially with the winds. Drifts would be high. Again, according to this scenario. Look at that cutoff across Chicago. Lakefront getting 8 inches. A few, 10, 20 miles inland, it's 3, 4 inches and quickly dwindles. Same thing with Milwaukee, Green Bay. Detroit also on that line between very heavy and little snow. Indiana, most of the Indiana here would be covered in very heavy snow. Same thing with Ohio. Kentucky, pretty good chances of seeing snow. But then Tennessee also, if this shifts a bit further to the south, we could see more snow across Alabama, Mississippi. Northern areas, obviously, not the southern areas. At least that's what it seems. Again, maybe Pennsylvania seeing more of a system out of this. It's all over the place, and I do apologize that the confidence is so low. I'm apologizing that I can't provide a more detailed forecast, but you just have to understand the nature of these things, especially when a system is so dynamic and the cutoffs are that drastic. You could be going from a 3-inch event to possibly a foot and a half event of snow, maybe even 2 feet. Let's take a look at the other models because they are equally as confusing. And the bad thing about this storm is, before I show you the other models, I want to quickly say this, that it was, really started to show in our modelings, in the models around a day ago, or day and two ago, and this thing just has stayed consistent ever since it started showing. So the chances of this occurring are increasing model run by model run. That doesn't mean the confidence of the actual storm track, the details, rain or snow, are increasing, and unfortunately that's the case. Let's take a glance at the GFS. This is, again, a competitor, if you will, of the European. It is considered its biggest rival in terms of accuracy. Let's take a glance. Let's just take a look at the total snowfall amounts. I'll show you the surface and precip, the radar, simulated radar in just a bit. Notice, the GFS really doesn't like this storm. It does include pockets of heavier snow, but again, more of a weaker event. Still rather significant. I mean, you could see Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio seeing areas of 6-7 inches with wicked winds still ongoing. We do see a bit of snow in Canada, but if I were to take you back to, say, the model run prior, the GFS comes out every 6 hours, unlike the European, which comes out every 12. So we see a bit more incremental differences with the GFS. And you can see this was the one in the morning. It intensified. It kind of came in 2 waves. Still, not really much of what we are seeing with the European. Similar resemblance, if you will, kind of a wind-torn system. Not that much snow, though, comparatively. This is the GFS midnight one. You can see the GFS has been kind of showing the weaker amounts, but it's been, again, all over the place. I mean, you can see it's shifted. It has snow from Des Moines, Iowa to Indiana to Ohio, a huge difference. And I just want to show you the latest model run and show you the surface and precipitation. And people will be wondering, oh, can you please go over the timing? No, I literally can't, because unfortunately, if I try going over the timing, that would assume that I know the exact track of the storm, which is just blatantly false. And anyone that claims they know the track of the storm is unfortunately not telling the truth. And I don't think anyone would, and I haven't seen anyone do this, but there may be a possibility. I just want you to keep that in the back of your mind, that anyone that says, "Oh, this is the exact track," is just not telling you guys the truth. And let's take a look at this system. This is the low pressure, lots of rain. According to the GFS, obviously, it's going to have a lot of rain with this as well. That's the other side, severe weather. But notice, it doesn't have the northerly component to this really at all. It dwindles it and speeds it away. The cold air is lacking, and this system takes more of an eastward track. It's not really north and east oriented. It's more east-northeast, more heavily oriented towards the eastern direction. Again, heavy snow would still be in spots, right? But definitely a different storm, and lesser snowfall amounts as a result. Let's take a glance at the Canadian CMC. This is a pretty highly regarded model. Not as good as the GFS or the European, but with this storm, it's agreeing more with the European. In the sense that maybe not the track or time difference, but just the overall organization. So notice, we have that first system pulling away. That northerly component, the southerly component, they're both present. We do see some snow across Texas, the Panhandle, which the European mimics pretty well. And I needed to actually check that if it was in Canadian. Didn't click on the wrong model because of the resemblance they're showing. So that's actually really good that we're seeing this resemblance, and that gives us confidence that this will be occurring more in a occurring in a certain style, more confidence of the storm occurring in a certain style. But again, snowfall amounts, location, forget about it. So again, loaded with moisture. This thing has the potential to be very, very snow filled. Ohio, Kentucky, you could see that the Canadian takes a bit further to the east. However, it really shoots the storm backwards almost. You can see it wraps it around, lots of rain across the northeast. Again, lake effect across portions of Lake Michigan and the UP. Notice this thing wraps itself around, produces snow for a good while. I mean, this thing could be a long duration event starting late Sunday and ending. I mean, holy cow, this could be ending Friday with another potential system across the East Coast, which the Canadian and several other models have been showing. So if you live across the coastal areas and you're going to be seeing rain with this system, you have a potential to see snow with this one. Now, this one shows more rain across the coastal areas, but the model run prior showed more snow. And again, the confidence on the first system is really low. The confidence on the second one is just astronomically low. So let's take a look at this total snowfall accumulations and show you what the Canadian is projecting. And this is what it shows, assuming a 10-to-1 ratio. You could see some pretty hefty amounts, especially centered across Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee. Sharp cutoff when it comes to cities like Milwaukee, Green Bay, Illinois. Detroit, more confident to see snow with this Canadian model. But again, Erie, Pennsylvania, cities like that, even Pittsburgh, kind of on that cutoff as well. This shifts a bit further to the east. You will get more snow. A bit further to the west, you will get a little bit less snow. Even maybe quite a bit less snow, depending on how much it shifts. If we were to take a look at the Kuchera snowfall ratio, this basically takes the temperature profiles and kind of tries giving a more accurate estimate. And depending on the system, sometimes this shows less or more than a 10-to-1, obviously depending on the temperature. Really, relatively the same, a bit less because of some of this snow may be falling, especially at the beginning when the rain-snow transition is occurring, maybe falling at more of a 5-to-1 ratio, which is gonna accumulate a bit less and be less fluffy. Let's take a look at some other models. I want to show you the Canadian model, but the model one prior, so the midnight one, right? So we definitely have to take a look at this and let's see what it's showing. Again, here I just won't show you the radar because I have limited time. This is what it showed in midnight. So it did shift it a tad bit towards the west. Again, not much, but it now does include more snow across Illinois, Wisconsin, while the snow in this model run, the older one, included it a bit further to the west. So this jumping around has been very, very strong all over the place. And I don't want to forget about portions of Canada, especially. I mean, you guys could be in for a doozy as well. Very, very high amounts of snow forecasted for your area as well. Again, forecasted, but it's not necessarily confident in that forecast. Model run prior to that model run, so this is now 24 hours old. You can see it showed a system even further to the east. So again, the Canadian has been shifting this further towards the west. The GFS shifted it further to the east, then dramatically to the west, and then dramatically to the east. So really, that one seems at least accurate. The European has shifted it further to the west, and then with the latest model run, a tad further towards the east. So this will be continuing for the next couple of days. Unfortunately, that's what looks to be the case. And I do want to show you one last model, the GFS Parallel. This is a relatively good model. Some would say better than the GFS. I would be one of those people. And this one is a bit old. It's the midnight one, as it only comes out now once a day, since it's not the operational one, so the data is a bit limited for this. But notice, it takes a track that is quite significantly further to the west, really the most west out of all the models. And we'll have to see. I don't think this will be the case at this point, but I mean, my opinion doesn't really matter here. It's the models that decide this. And notice that we do see a spinning around of a system for quite a few days, and it does advertise a potential nor'easter, another strong one, at around that time frame of the 6th, 7th, kind of where that Canadian showed its system. So if you're a snow lover and you live across the eastern United States, this is the time to be excited. And notice this is what it shows through 240 hours. Way more snow across Wisconsin, northern Illinois, Michigan. Not much snow across Ohio, Indiana. I don't think this is going to be the case based on what the other models are showing. It's the outlier, but for the next couple of days, we'll have to watch the trend. I do want to mention one forecasting little thing. So this is the forecast discussion that the National Weather Service in Chicago issues, and they basically always go in depth. And I chose the Chicago one really not because I just live in Chicago, but because they forecast for millions of people, so they kind of have a responsibility to give the most details they can versus some, Des Moines or Indianapolis, which is a big city but significantly less. Notice that it says that the key will be the impulse that interacts in phases. So again, those type of things are historically notorious for being inaccurate. And notice that the model guidance is likely going to struggle with the track and strength for the next few days, not just for the next few model runs, for the next few days. And the complexities with this storm will be the tough part. Because the evolving upper air pattern needs to come together to support it. The key will be the degree which digging northeastern Pacific, that northern piece, oriented upper impulse interacts and phases with the southern stream that went across the southern United States. And how those two interact, more cold air, less cold air, more energy transferred, less energy transferred. It's interesting. And then you can see it does bear watching, and this is specific for the Chicago area, so it does bear watching for really anywhere across the eastern United States. So a lot of we'll have to see, and it's exciting, but unfortunately, the weather gets dangerous when it's unconfident and inaccurate, or not too accurate. But okay, so this is I just realized it's a 22-minute video almost. I will have to end this. Thank you guys so much for watching. A lot of more stuff on this storm will be in the following days. But as of now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.